right, it looks like that was a very good transition. Hello, everybody who is here. All right, that's that. All right, seems that we're about maybe, YouTube is maybe about 5 seconds behind, which is a lot better than what Zoom was doing. All right, now let's go back to here. All right. Okay, everything is working. This says there's 2 that we're watching, but no. But hello, and hope everyone is doing well, especially on the rerun, on the replay. Let's just dive right on in, and we'll switch cameras. All right, there we are. So, all right, we'll move that over there, move that over there. And switch positions. All right. Now, I would say, starting where I left off, but when I left off, one thing that I did do is I wound up attaching the side frames to the sides. Well, unfortunately, because the way the car is set up, they don't line up with the sides and all that. So I had to go in, re-glue everything, clamp everything down off screen. So now everything works as it should. I'm starting to think that this is more of a, it's not a beginner's kit, whereas this the 25 footer I think is a. All right, let's scoot this down just a little bit. There we go. That's more of a. I think this is more of a beginner's kit, because you're not struggling with the truck, or at least I'm not. I'm struggling with the truck, so let's put this over to the side. Oh, hello there, Andy. Thank you for jumping in. Wish I actually hit the entirety of your video. That was definitely interesting. Not since I don't do Lionel. Well, I don't do modern Lionel. I did not know that they had a Lincoln funeral train. But all right. So now, but I would have to say sometimes it's actually interesting when you have to take a model that you want and then get rid of the details that you don't want on it. All right. Now this. Now, unfortunately, because I had to bring these in, that means I'm going to have to do what I did with this one, where I notched it out so the others would work. Hello there, Curly and Rick. Thank you for coming. Andy had SD Pandy Projects had an interesting video where he took a Lionel Lincoln funeral train and what do you call it? Defuneralizing it, so it was just a normal locomotive, or what the locomotive would normally work at. All right, so the question is, do I take out the wood or do I take out the metal? I mean, every piece of metal I think would probably be smarter, but it winds up having this odd look onto it. So thinking for this one, I'll go the other direction, and probably shouldn't be using my rail nippers. However, this is white metal, so it is soft. Yeah, definitely the changing it to from 3-rail to 2-rail is definitely the most hardest part of that project. It's almost I don't want to say like doing a it's not like doing like a original blue box or something, or doing a trying to do DCC on some of the original non-DCC ready stuff. All right, put that there, put that there. All right, now for the hard part, trying to using 5 hands to hold everything before gluing. Ooh, new sticker video. All right, let's get that there, get that there. All right. This is definitely a challenge, trying to get everything all lined up before hitting it with glue. All right, let's try it this way. Let's say we throw on the glue first. Just to get it so it sticks. Do it over this so it doesn't so I don't accidentally get it on. Oh, looks like I need to add a dollop of glue on that. Alright, that goes there. It's sticking just a little bit there to make sure it's all nice and lined up. There we go. Doesn't look right. Well, four-wheelers I don't think are. They are. Because I think they are unusual, but not. I don't want to say that they're not completely. Yeah, I want to say they're unusual, but they are not. Trying to think what the word I'm thinking of. Not impossible. They're very unusual, especially in the 20th century. But they seem to be a lot more popular. They were a lot more popular in the 19th century. And the interesting thing is that they they did have some four-wheeled equipment. Take for instance scale cars. Their scale cars are usually the four-wheeled variety, not the 8. The glue is coming completely off. All right, let's do it this way then. Hold on 1 second. I got some 90-degree clamps somewhere. Yeah, I think the bus in Maine had some. I think I've seen one that said New York Central on it. I mean, it sort of kind of makes sense because, say, back when all there was the different styles of when the railroads had everything, and I think even today, you got the specialized containers. I mean, there wasn't a standardized boxcar. I mean, even in the 1800s, they didn't even have standard gauges. But The way I'm looking at it is that they didn't have standard sizes, and if they had to have pretty much different boxcars for different things. And thing is that they went to every little every place that was on the rail line, and there were times that I assumed that they didn't need a large boxcar. They can get away with having a four-wheeled boxcar. Okay, now I know what I need to do here. Problem is that the sides don't have a flat bottom, so trying to clamp it squarely is being a bit of a challenge. But this has to go that way. Now unloosen this. This goes up and over. There we go. Do that straight. And then we have the ability to put that in there. Yeah, it is one of those things of, especially with today's technology, finding out what railroads had what. Now, I don't know if these four-wheeled boxcars would be considered specialized. Would they be considered specialized, or were they generic enough that they weren't specialized? We'll put that over there. Rinse and repeat with this one. Hello, Boilermaker Rick. Thank you for dropping in. I think I said hi to you, Wigwag. I'm blanking on if I actually saw you come in or not. Sometimes when you're concentrating on something, it's hard to actually concentrate exactly what you're doing. Now I thought pre-painting these would keep them from warping, but it didn't quite work. All right, that looks square. All right, put that there. Yeah, say these little pieces, to add them as weight. Same thing with the other things I wound up cutting off. Those aside. So the boxes I wound up, the equipment boxes I wound up breaking off. Put them aside also. Well, that's a new term I've heard. Fibonacci gauge? I've never heard of that before. I wonder what Fibonacci gauge is. Yeah, it looked like something exploded. But things are slowly gluing together. Basically building a second one of these. This is a four-wheel. It's from Congruino Models. Let me put it over there. Congruino Models, which is actually this is their 25-foot boxcar. But basically, they turned around and basically took the bobber caboose truck frames and made a four-wheel bobber. You call it the bobber boxcar. This one I've modified so the truck portion doesn't have the equipment boxes on it, because that's not, if you, there are pictures of four-wheeled boxcars in the United States in the 1800s. I mean, I think almost all the way to 1910, I think. I could be wrong on that. But they were around. They weren't as popular as bogied style trucks. But they were around. Actually, if the model period that I'm doing, it seemed that there wasn't a quote-unquote standard. Seems that every time they standardize something, someone would come out with a new standard. But they did have, I think during the Civil War, they were more this size. They were from 25 to 30. And then I think around my time period, they went up to 36. Then in the 1910s, I think that's when they were starting to hit 40. And then 40 was a standard for a long time. And then after the after World War II, and they started having steel cars, that's when they started going to. Yeah, it was after World War II that they started going to 50-foot long cars. And then I think that was the standard for a while, and eventually I know they had the 86-foot 86-foot boxcars for a while and all that, but those were then the high cube cars and all that. And those I think were in the 80s and 90s, but that didn't standardize because by that time they were transitioning over to containers. There was a war on Artie's stream a few minutes ago. Most were 8-wheeled in the Civil War era. Yeah, actually, I don't even know where I came across this. I think it was the four-wheeled ones were they came across, I think, in the Civil War era Discord, but they were not. They were nowhere as popular as the four-wheeled one. Actually, now that I think about it, that would make sense when they started the quote bobber caboose. The bobber caboose probably evolved from the conductor car of the Civil War, which were 4-truck. But since they didn't, maybe a conductor turned around and made a conductor car out of the 4-wheeler, and then that eventually became. Then they added a cupola, and that became the caboose. That's my current theory, where the Bobber caboose came in. Artie is not happy. Well, when a war goes off on your channel, I would assume that is All right, I guess I have to turn around and rewatch that to find out exactly what had happened. Well, that's sort of sad. I mean, usually on some of there are some streams that I'm on where, well, war is part of the idea, especially the Civil War. Which bridge diorama? I actually got I got 2 that are finished and 1 I haven't started yet. So I finished the one that was the uncovered bridge. I finished the diorama for the covered bridge, but I'm actually planning on fixing it because it didn't come out as. Let's see. I'll show you what my plan is on that, which I might do after. Here's the instructions for the Bobber boxcar, Conduino models. All right, actually, I have it here. Here's the roof. Good thing I'm waiting for glue to dry. And this is the diorama for the covered bridge, which obviously I made it so the roof can come off. So if I get the room, I can actually turn around and take the bridge off of this. And one of the interesting things is that my workplace has we make mattresses, and we get sometimes we get the fabric that comes in, and it comes in these things, where the bolt of fabric would be in between the holes here. And basically I cut one up, and I looked at it and says, that would make a nice ravine for this, and that's what I wound up doing. Not quite too completely happy with this, so one of the things I'm planning on doing is I got another 1x2 piece of plywood, and I'm going to see about somehow adding this on there, so it winds up being a little bit larger of a diorama. I also got some more. I actually don't know what these are called, but I did get a couple more of these, so I can hack them up and all that, and make a larger diorama on it. It's one of those things of, we get the stuff in, and we use them a lot, but then eventually they get crushed and they get thrown out, and they're constantly getting more because, well, we're constantly getting more fabric. So it's not a perfect ravine, but as you see, it does look sort of like that. Looks like a Henry 6010. You'd be correct. It says Henry 6010. And then there's 16 here. And I honestly don't know if that's a 1-800 number, but I would assume anyone that deals with fabric probably recognizes those. And that's one of the interesting things is that especially if you're at a workplace that turns around and builds stuff and all that, you can turn around and use things from work. Also, one of the companies that we sublet to, the building. Yeah, I guess that's not dry enough yet. There is the company. My company that I work for doesn't actually use the entire building. They sublet it to at least 5 other companies. So it makes since my job is shipping and receiving, sometimes it's a challenge to talk to some of the people, like which company are you here for? There we go. All right, this super glue is taking a little bit longer to dry than I thought. This is sort of an off-brand. Well, Loctite's not an off-brand, but it feels like an off-brand. Then I also got my. It's not within reach, but I do have the uncovered version done, and that's actually done. That is done on a 1x2 piece of plywood. The one that I'm planning on doing, it's sort of a modified version of the covered bridge. There is a lesser known cousin of the covered bridge called the covered truss bridge. What that does is that it only covers the truss portion of it. So it looks like so what it looks like is you're going down the track and it looks like there's 2 wooden walls that go over the over the ravine. Apparently I forgot which 2-footer is, but there's a 2-foot gauge railroad that they just finished refurbishing one. They wound up pulling it completely off its foundations and basically took anything that was rotten and made it so it wasn't rotten, repainted it, and then re-put it back on the tracks. And it's very interesting because you're showing this, all this. People are showing this train going through the woods and all that, and all of a sudden it comes to this very bright red, 2 bright red walls that are just there. But if you don't realize that since it's not as common as a full covered bridge, it's not as well known. There is a bridge near me, which it was just an uncovered wooden bridge that right now it's closed off, and they're in the process of rebuilding it. And there has been times I want to throw a suggestion to the Arlington, Vermont board to restore it back as a covered bridge or a covered truss bridge, because I got pictures of it when it was at that point. Ooh, All right, time to look back a little bit. Thank you, Wigwag. All right. All right, hold on 1 second. Da-da-da. All right, what right angle clamps are those? Let's see. These are from Panavice. I'm not sure if you can actually see that. Let's see if I can actually get a number off for you. Panavice. I don't see a number on these. Yeah, it says Panavice, Long Beach, California, USA. Unfortunately, there's no number for it. But Panavice is, I believe, still in business. They're mostly known for their, well, actually, come to think of it, makes sense that they're in the Silicon Valley because they're mostly known for their small little vices that are, that can turn around and flip over and all that, and designed for circuit boards. So, or they have ones that they have things that can hold circuit boards on there. So it makes sense that they're in California. But yes, they are Panavice. I don't know if they make this specific brand or this specific one anymore. I would assume yes. But that is that. Is that the question that you wanted me to point to? Wigwag. Panavice since I never saw that. Yeah, there's. I even forgot where I bought them from. I think it was. I want to say it was. Sometimes when you go to a train show and all that, you got somebody that just, they sell all the tools. They don't actually have anything that's really specific to, model trains and all that, but they have all the tools. They're the ones that have all the, like this Dr. Surgical tweezers and all the stuff from, let's see, Micromark, or trying to think of all the other small tool things, but they would have all the small like these, they would have like the really small pliers and etc and all that, and I think that's where I got that from. Now let's see if these are dried. Are they dried? I hope they're dried. All right, this one looks dried. Let's see. This one has dried. No, this one has not dried. Why is this one not? That's very odd. One is nice and dry. The other one is not. That makes putting these together a little bit of a challenge. All right. Well, we got that one finished. Let's see if we can put this together. Don't see it on their site. Well, it looks like they might not. Maybe they don't make it anymore. Well, I mean, the thing is that there are ones that do make a do make a right angled clamp. So Panavice doesn't make them anymore. I'm willing to bet somebody does. All right. Line that up. That's lined up there. It's lined up there. All right. Well, it looks like I gotta let everything go. Take the cap off the super glue. And then try it. Relining it all back up. Yeah, I think this kit, since it seems that it requires 5 hands, this is not a beginner's kit. Okay, let's see we get that right. Of course, it still might be easier. It still might be easier than doing an N scale palette. But I could be wrong. Okay, now that we got that where we want it, that there, put that there. And one thing I like about these small applicators is that if somehow wind up leaving the cap up or something like that, you're only losing that much. And with the larger ones, it's very annoying that you wind up using just about a small little bit like that, and then the thing clogs. But I know somebody was showing off. I think it was Derailed Daryl that was showing off how he was putting ballast down using super glue. Which it's. I would never, it's one of those things that go on like, yeah, that actually makes sense doing, what he was doing with the super glue, which uses a lot of super glue. He's putting down ballast with it. And scale pallets are very easy to make. I remember we were having problems with one of those little kits. I forgot which one it was. Hello, Kyle. Thanks for coming in. Sorry, I didn't see you sneak in. Yeah, tonight seems to be a night to be watching glue dry. Or hoping that glue dries. For some reason, that one is not drying. Don't know why. Should have left it alone. Should have left it alone. There we go. Now it's back into position, I believe. Nah. All right, let's try this again.
I have to go grab another small tube. All right, let's try this again. And one thing I don't like about this particular kit is that once you get it all together, you cannot change the wheels without breaking something. Because I wish I had metal wheels on these. It would have added a little extra weight instead of having plastic wheels. All right, starting to all right. Yeah, sorry, the glue is not as fast drying as it has been. Maybe because I had it open for a week, I don't know. But that's another thing, is that if the glue winds up going bad when they're so small, it's just easier to go on to the next bottle. Well, Kyle, I am building another one of these. It's a four-wheel caboose, or not four-wheel caboose, but it's called a bobber boxcar by Congoino Miles. It's not an actual. There is no prototype for this, but they do. It says this closed boxcar is fictional. What Chris has done at Congoino Miles is that he's taken basically. He did the same thing with this boxcar. This is their 25-foot one. Basically, they took what the normal practices and all that, and turned around and made something that was not an actual prototype, but used all the different prototype conventions of the time of the time that he made these, and went from there. I have modified this one because, as you can see, this one doesn't have the trucks are LaBelle. This is for their bobber caboose. That's why it calls it the bobber boxcar. On this one, I've actually taken the toolboxes out. Actually, that looks like it's standing together now. And the thing is that there are. I have seen prototype photos of four-wheel boxcars. They are. I get the impression that they were not common. They weren't rare, but they weren't common. It's one of those things that they look like a regular boxcar. So if you're actually turning around going like, oh, it's a boxcar, and if you it's like, oh, it's a short boxcar. Well, if it's a really, really short boxcar, they would have 2 axles instead of 4. I think I've seen New York Central and Boston, Maine have these style cars. I don't know if any other railroads had that style of car. I remember seeing these in G scale and turning around and going like, "Oh, well, that's not prototypical." But it seems that there's a prototype for everything. Oh, hello, Nathan. Today, yeah, Nathan Delay. Unless I was going to my YouTube. Yeah. At this point in time, I just don't have the meet and greet at Northlands. Does not look like it's possible at this point in time. He's still looking for the clamps. Well, it's one of those things of if you find more, if you find a a newer version of the clamp, let everybody know. It's one of those things of upon looking at this, actually you can see that this was I almost want to say injection molded. Because you can see where the ejector pins for when it came out, but I don't know where. I don't see an entrance way. So these right here. Well, that one might be the entrance. Yeah, entrance port maybe. Or wait a second, it might be here because there's like a port right there where the metal was poured in. Then when it came out, just pushed this out. And they turned around and drilled and tapped 2 holes in it. Yeah, it's very interesting that the pin right here is like right square and all that, but for some reason they missed on these. But I'm not sure if that's a scratch or that's where the screw came out, which would make sense because usually the screw sticks up. But if they just turned around and made it so, just flatten it out, as long as they didn't go too far, that's how it would go. But don't know. I'm assuming that there is somebody that does make something similar. I mean, it's not that complex of a. I mean, actually, if you pull off these, you can see that it's these are just regular hex screws. Ooh, Cass Scenic Railroad in May. Ooh, the 11th is your 50th birthday. Keep on forgetting that you're younger than I am. But happy birthday. It's not belated, it's ahead of time. Yeah, I would have to say some of the places I hang out with, you would be the young whippersnapper. But all right, is this dry enough? Maybe, possibly. But I know over at the New Tracks Modeling, they're always complaining that there's not enough young people and all that. It's like I'm not sure where they're looking for young people, but it seems that there's a bunch of YouTube channels out there that do have young people on them. So I'm not sure where they're looking for. They're definitely not looking in the right direction. Because I know there's Ars Trains. Just started college. There's North Country Trains, which I think is still in high school. And there's, I think, SMT Mainline. I believe he's still also in high school. So, don't know. All right, let's put that together. That looks like it's going to stay. I think Nathan is also a relatively young gentleman. Young guys are on Discord. Yeah, I mean, I like Jim, but at the same time, he is definitely a product of his own generation. Okay, let's see. So I have to do something with the clip these off. All right, let's take that off. Well, looking at the clock, looks like it's time to switch over cameras. I'm a little late on doing that. $22. Yes, that's what I thought. You were the younger member of the group. All right, now to switch over cameras. And it's one thing I don't like about StreamYard is that it's not a simple click between cameras. You know, you have to go into settings, change it all that, and go from there. That's a good question, Split Rock. What is a whippersnapper? Of course, when I was growing up, my parents they both married late, so there was I thank you, James, for putting that on there, and that's from there. Oh, actually, since I am here, all right, hold on one second. I need to. All right. And sort of. it's one of those things of not quite doing what um, what Anthony Dodge does. But the way I look at it is that if you're here, if you are here a lot, you are, I think it's very smart to have you as a Henry Molded Products. Okay, but yeah, it's one of those things of with the internet. It's one of those things of I found out that there's a lot of industries that are out there that they have things that you're like, wait, what? But that's how they are and all that. Well, I would have to say it's been a fun hour with everyone and all that. Now, who is going to be at the Sidetrack Sunday? Who is it this week? That's why I try to do 50 minutes ahead and all that, because sort of give people a break between things. That's one thing I think I've done with Anthony Dodge. When I was at first, I wound up like moving, a half an hour, so I wasn't on top of him. But at the same time, realizing that sometimes if I wind up running over, would run over, and so people who were on my channel wouldn't go to, might not have gone to his at the beginning. So the way I look at it is that, I end early and gives not only me, a 15-minute break to do what needs to be done, if I have anything to be done, and also gives everyone a chance here if they have to turn around and head off and do what they have to do before the next live stream. Let's see. So, well, got 10 more minutes for Sidetrack Sunday. So everyone have a nice week. And I think the world needs more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. How many freight cars do I have? That I do not know. Why, thank you, Split Rock. And all right, well, it looks like Heath has put up the link for tonight. Thank you, James. Thank you, Curly. Not enough. Well, actually, I have a very small layout, so I can't go too nuts on it. That's why I actually go for the smaller cars, because I can turn around and have more cars. When you have a layout that's only 8.5 feet, or 8 foot long, a foot and a half wide, you can't go nuts on freight cars. My only post since you ask. I hope absolutely. That's one of the things I'm starting to think of. Well, I'm hoping I'm like the pre-show to Sidetrack Sunday, but if I am not, I'm not. But so there's a good chance I'll see everyone there on Sidetrack Sunday. Good night, everyone.